And talking about Skaven, I noticed today, because I gave the PDF unit a cheeky download, Skavenslaves are no more.
What?
They are gone.
In what?
In the Skaven army. They have no Skavenslaves.
Oh, what, in Age of Sigmar?
No. I mean, Age of Sigmar, I don't know if they ever had them, to be honest. But in the old world, and let's face it, Warhammer Fantasy Battle certainly did have Skavenslaves, because I used to send them by the 100 to go and die. They are now gone in the old world. Which
so have they released like a PDF for rules for the armies that they've not?
Yes, all the legacy
armies actually
got,
produced.
Yeah, all the legacy armies have got rules now. They're quite stripped down. There's not a lot to them. Obviously, there's no special characters because a lot of them are either not born yet or whatever,
Yeah. It's basically just a bone, isn't it, to old players? Like, you go, we'll throw you a bone so you can use your stuff.
And they are bare bones. It is like literally a couple of army-wide special rules, and here's your units. Off you go, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if people have been playing for long enough, they'll be able to improvise stuff, and that is pretty much what Games Workshop are all about. People always concentrate on tournaments. They can't use this in tournaments, and this is shit, and that shit, and blah blah blah. But like right from the very early days, like I've always seen Games Workshop as a company that provides a rules framework for you and your friends to use to get games in.
Framework, don't they?
Exactly.
They've always said that.
Yeah. And if you don't like it, you change it. Even tournament organisers do it. Oh, we think that rule's a bit shit. We're going to change that for this tournament. Yes. So if you don't like stuff, just change it.
Outright banning armies, weren't they? When 10th got released.
No knights for you.
The German ones just said no elder, no elder. They're broken.
It's not a good look, Germany.
This is your punishment for slave.
So they got rid of all the slave units. I'm assuming Dark Elves had some as well.
Also for the Chaos Dwarfs. Dark Elves didn't. Dark Elves never had a slave unit.
Really?
Yeah, they never had slave units. But Skavenslaves did, and Chaos Dwarfs did. And I'm guessing this in order to make it slightly more palatable to certain people, sanitizing the setting somewhat.
I mean, it seems a little bit pandery, given that it's an entirely fictional universe, so doesn't really have any bearing on real life. But on the flip side, if they're fairly minor units that don't really impact the function or flavour of that army, then
well, this is the problem I have. Is like it was a massive part of the Skaven army. The whole idea was that you had these. Because they breed by the billions and they're teeming, and because they've got a caste system where there are the very, very unfortunate, they were just fucking poked forward and go forward and die.
I die.
Bad
thing, you die.
And to see that gone for what in my opinion is no good reason is quite a blow. I think actually, I don't agree with it. It brings that whole problem of like, okay, well, everything was all very, very enlightened up until Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and then obviously all these slaves turned up. Nobody by having Skaven slaves in your army. Nobody's endorsing slavery.
No.
Nobody's saying slavery's good. Nobody's saying, oh, these slaves are a good thing. We're adult enough to understand that they lead a wretched life, very short, and they get put forward and they get murdered and killed.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like when they got rid of the penal legions from the Imperial Guard Codex.
What legions?
Penal. Not penile. That'd be Slaneshi cultists, surely.
Good lord.
But yeah, the penal legions from Imperial Guard, and that was in 9th. That was a huge part of the Imperial Guard kind of law, as it were. Not massive law, but the flavour of it. The idea, these poor unfortunates, they exploding collars onto their necks and said, right, you go forward and die, and if you don't, we're just going to blow you up. And we're probably going to blow you up anyway, but this is the Imperium and it's horrible and it sucks.
I was about to say, it is an aspect of the Imperium not being great, despite what some people may think.
I don't want a sanitised old world. I don't want a sanitised Imperium. This shit happens. I know it happens, and that's fine. As long as we don't start saying it's a good thing and start saying, oh, I wish the real world was like this and stuff, then that's fine to have these little bits of escapism. It doesn't have to be nice.
No.
Fantasy does not have to be nice. If it's all nice, then you have to wonder why people are fucking fighting in the first place. So yeah, it's just a little sign for me of that pandering. Because obviously, look at something like Dungeons and Dragons has now got to the example where you can't have half races because apparently that's racist.
What?
All the slaves are gone. Yeah, all the half races are gone.
Hey, I'm white and I'm part Jamaican. I feel underrepresented now.
I found it quite ironic the fact that Dungeons and Dragons got rid of all the half races because they thought it was racist. So now it's just purebloods everywhere. Hang on.
Yeah, wait a sec.
So yeah, apparently it's just ridiculous. It's like turning around saying that all orcs are black, and it's like, no, please, just escapism. Please leave it alone.
Yeah.
Please.
Black orcs are still green, you know.
Have the options to have Skavenslaves, and if you're really triggered by that and you don't like it, you know what? Just don't have them in your fucking army.
Yeah, just overlook their existence. It'll be fine.
You've got a nice bunch of Skaven. Your Warren, your den of Skaven are very nice, and they don't use slaves. Good for you. Fantastic. But for the rest of us, let's just have this fucking what it's meant to be. A teeming mass of rats where there's so many that there's a caste system, most of them are downtrodden and they get sent out to die.
Yep.
To be a clan rat in Skaven society is like, you've made it, do you know what I mean? You're on the first step to become, then it's Storm Vermin, and obviously you go up to like Clawmaster and stuff like that. To get rid of Slaves makes no fucking sense. And there's only one reason I can think of it. It just seems so unnecessary, especially with something like the old world. I can understand in Age of Sigmar, because Age of Sigmar is little Jimmy's. Here's your high fantasy, low fat, whatever it is. Here's your watered down bubble.
Let's be a bit more diplomatic, and we'll just say that it's a different setting.
It's definitely a more friendly setting, I would say, overall.
Yeah.
Both through means of sort of the lore in it. It's not particularly grimdark. There's a couple of cool ideas in it, but in the general, it's not like the old lore that you used to have, especially with chaos and stuff. It just seems I was very disappointed. The old world is meant to be for all the old gamers, and that just seems like a massive part to be missing, especially for the Skaven.
All the old fans of slavery.
I can't comment enough on it. I can't comment enough on the Chaos Dwarfs. It's like, what's next? Is the new Dark Eldar Codex going to come out and not mention that they take slaves? It surprised me.
No boobies for you and your witch elves.
They just go and invite them for a picnic instead. And forget to take them back. The old Dark Elf fucking army book had a higher nipple count than the fucking Sunday Sport, mate.
Damn.
There's tits everywhere. Marathi had their tits out, and the witch elves had their tits out, and everything. And I understand.
It was a different time.
It was a different time with the exposure, with the company that GW is now. They don't want to do that, and I am totally, honestly, don't get me wrong, I am totally cool with that. I can live without tits in the Dark Elves, but I'm fine with that. If it makes it more accessible to people and everything, fantastic. That's fine. Loss of tits is not a big thing. We can live without that. And if you really want to put tits in your Dark Elf models, then I won't stop you as well.
Look yourselves up.
But when you're changing a fundamental part of the lore, which is that Skaven have slaves, just rename the unit and said Skaven underlings, and then kept it in the lore or something. They're just gone.
These are the Skaven prisoners with jobs.
Yeah, just call them underlings or runts or something like that.
Yeah.
Just don't get rid of it and fundamentally change what the army is, because part of the fun was sending Skavenslaves out there to see if they just die or break. And
what is it like? They're like, sir, the slaves are escaping, and he's like, we can't use that word here. And he goes, sorry, sir, the prisoners with jobs are escaping.
the involuntary employees. Yeah. So that's my little rant. So I can't comment too much on the Chaos Dwarfs because I don't know quite how much of it keys into their lore. I don't know much about those guys at all.
Still got the hats though, isn't it?
Mainly because their models were very, very silly back in the day.
Very silly.